A majority of American millionaires actually support a wealth tax as long as it hits people who are wealthier than they are. Now, 59% of millionaires support a federal tax of 2% on wealth over $50 million. That's according to the CNBC Millionaire Survey, which polls more than 700 people with investable assets of $1 million or more. But the support falls to 48% if the tax hits those with $10 million or more. And the richer millionaires they're even more opposed. Nearly half of those worth $5 million or more would oppose a wealth tax. Now, Elizabeth Warren proposing a wealth tax of 2% on those with $50 million or more, 6% on billionaires. But critics say the threshold would probably have to drop in order to raise as much revenue. Now, millionaires also feel like they pay enough already. 60% say they pay their fair share of taxes, and a third say they pay more than their fair share. But it varies by party. 88% of Democratic millionaires support a wealth tax, compared to only a third of Republicans. But millionaires also think a wealth tax is unlikely to happen anytime soon. When asked about the biggest threat to their wealth, only 8% said taxes.
What are the other threats?
What was the bigger threat?
The biggest by far is government dysfunction. And of course, the definition of that depends on what your party is. What's interesting, as I've covered the wealthy for 16 years now, the polling used to depend on what your wealth level was, what your demographic was, education, geography, the source of your wealth. Now it's all by party. So less dependent on what level of wealth you are, and it's all, if you're a Democrat, you support a wealth tax. Government dysfunction is probably the Republicans. If you're a Republican, the dysfunction means it's the Democrats.
Wow, that's stunning, but not surprising.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In our current age, unfortunately, that seems to be the case. So it's anybody but that. Anybody but them is fine. Now,
That's right.
We should point out, I mean, again, Elizabeth Warren has fallen in the polls, but nonetheless, she's at 2% above 50 and 6% above a billion.
And look, we also note, and we have this article online we'll talk about later today, the millionaires support Joe Biden over Trump, so Biden would beat Trump among millionaires. But he's talking about a big capital gains increase that would really affect this group, so we're going to have to ask them, because I would suspect the capital gains tax increase would be much more important to this group than a wealth tax.
All right.
Where does Bernie stand on all this stuff, by the way?
His wealth tax is even steeper.
Higher than Warren's,
he goes up to 8% on the top rank. And, of course, he's not doing great in the polls. But we're asking this group about the Warren plan, which is already 10 or 20 times higher than the highest wealth tax levels that we've ever had in Europe. So what's different about her wealth tax than any other we've ever had, including those in Europe, is that 2 or even 6%. Europe, the rates of typically 0.3%. So Bernie's even more extreme than that.
You pointed out as well, though, Robert, I think that it's not just the wealth tax. It's also the change in Social Security earnings top that would impact a lot of people.
Yeah. So when you add the wealth tax to taxing the gain on that wealth, you could get rates of over 100% on any kind of asset gain or investment gain when you combine those two taxes.